Hey, what's up, DFS Rico, coming at you with my picks and insight for this League of Legends LPL LCK 6-game slate on April 1st. Before I get started, if you can like, subscribe, and then comment at the end of the video if you got any questions. But to get started, same as usual, first thing I like to do is go over to Bovada and just see what Vegas is thinking on this slate. So, early on we got Dragon X favored over Sandbox Gaming, KT Rolster heavily favored over Griffin, Genji and T1 in a very close spread, which is probably the game of the night. And it's might be a low scoring game in my opinion, but that's probably where you can go in GPPs to be really different because they're both really good teams, and usually when two really good teams compete, it's usually less a low scoring game usually. But you never know. Both teams are really good, and either team could probably snowball depending on how it goes early game. And then in the LPL, we got LNG favored over Dominus, E-Star heavily favored over Vici Gaming, and the biggest favorites is RNG Royal Never Give Up versus Victory 5, with just huge favorites, massive favorites. That's probably where you want to go if you want to be in cash lineups. And places you could look to be different is LNG and Dominus Esports, and then the T1 and Genji's where you really want to be different. But jump over to this DraftKings page, and just early on I'm going to go through my favorites and who I'm looking to stack, which will usually dictate my 3-man and 4-man stacks. So early on I'm practically going with the favorites: RNG over V5, KT over Griffin, DRX over SB, E-Star over Vici Gaming, LNG Esports over DMO, and you can go either way with Genji versus T1. Genji has one match loss all season, and that only match loss was to T1 earlier this season. They lost 1-2. Both two of the best teams in the LCK. So that's why it's going to be a really good game. It's the last game of the slate too. So if you want to be different, that's where you're probably going to want to go. Just because it should be a low scoring affair. No, that's the thing. But alright, let's get started. Just going to go through some of the guys I would include in my stacks if I am playing specific player teams, which I mentioned the 6 teams I plan on playing is top lane. You got up top, you got Lang X for 7.6k, and the matchup where they're really favorited. The highest favorited, he can have a monster game, but I'm not huge on him, but he is up there just due to the fact that he is in the best matchup. But Xiao Bai for E-Star has been playing really, really good. I think he's top 5 out of all the top laners as far as kills. I think he's top 3 in KDA. For E-Star, they're the best team in the LPL. He's just had 3 monster games his last 3 games: 92, 97, 104 points, averaging 19 assists per game. Can't go wrong with him. But a little cheaper, I do like Flandry for LNG. Really good play, 7k, and a good matchup. Should be a good game. Usually when the team is succeeding, it's usually because of him. He's probably the 1 or 2 best player on the team between him and Asura. But I do like Flandry at the top lane. Doron if you want to be even cheaper, and then the cheapest I'd probably go is Rascal at 6.4k versus T1. Those are the main guys I'm probably looking at right now. The top is kind of everywhere, honestly. Just depends which team you want to stack. But like I mentioned, E-Star, LNG, DRX, probably the ways I would go. And then we got junglers. We got Wei, 8k, 29 assists per game. It's probably the best jungler in the entire LPL as far as everything. Points, fantasy points. Last 3 games over 110 points per game. 92 points per game he's averaging per season, per game. E-Star is just really good. They're really, really good. So it's kind of like he has a really safe floor. really active. I mean, he had 49 assists against LNG. He had 37 in a 2-0 sweep last game. Really safe play at 8K. It's really hard to fit in a lot of these E-Star guys unless you're going to be playing an upset. So if you are playing like the 6 favorited teams, it's gonna be kind of hard to fit like a team stack for E-Stars, what I've noticed early on. Then you got XLB or RNG, once again priced up just due to the matchup. They're playing against the worst team in the league. I think, if I remember, V5 hasn't won a match. Let me check though. They haven't won a match. They've only won one game all season. That's one game, not one match. As you know, they played best 2 out of 3. They're 1-18 as far as games, which is just insane. And then I like Pyosick at 7.2. Usually, if the team's succeeding, it's usually because he's playing very well in the jungle for Dragon X. Really solid player. Bono for 6.8k for KT Rollster. I do like him. He's probably one of the 3 players I really like from KT. A lot of the other guys, like their top laner, Sohwan, is not that good. I think that's really all I'm looking at over here. I mean, like I'm telling you, you can go either way with Glid, or depends who starts, Elim or Cuz. I think they both played last game. Elim played 2 and Cuz played 1 game out of the 3-match series. Usually it was due in part because Elim was having a bad game. In game 2 he didn't play too well, so they benched him and they put in Cuz. So just be wary of that, depending who's going to start. Then I really like Clit as well. If I do play Genji, Clit is one of the main guys I'd include in my stacks. Safe floor, 75 point floor, really good upside, 96 points for 6.4k. These guys are really underpriced. Clit and the T1 guys and the Genji guys, due to the fact that it's a really good matchup, but they all have really good upside. At that price tag at least. Then mid lane, I mean, you got Cryin, averaging 104 fantasy points per game for E-Star. Fantastic player. I mean, if you can find a way to fit these guys in a stack, 3-man stack or 4-man stack, I say do it, but I'm telling you right now, it's hard if you're playing the favorites. It's really hard. Maybe playing them off as a one-of might work out. And then, let's see, I like Chovy for DRX, been playing pretty good. 6.8 kills per game, 13.6 assists, 68 fantasy points per game, it's not too bad. They are favored in their matchup. If I am playing Genji, BDD is probably the way I'd go. I mean, I think he has, if I remember correctly, he has 8 player of the games for Genji, so usually he's heavily involved in their wins. If they're winning, he's usually one of the main reasons they're winning. I think he's like the second highest in the LPL as far as players per game, player of the games. And then, I mean, Faker if you're playing T1, for sure. That's one guy you want to include. Kuro for KT is this other guy that I would play out of the lineup. I did mention Bono at the jungle position. Kuro's the other guy that I'd play, and obviously, I mean, AD carry, jumping over to AD carry. I mean, aiming is the main guy on KT Rollster you want to play if you are playing him. He's been playing bananas lately. Over 80 fantasy points per game. Last 3, he's gone 98, 110, and 102. Just been playing really good. They're on a 7-game winning streak, 7-match winning streak, 10.5 kills per game, 9.8 assists. I mean, but up top, I mean, 8.6, you got Wink for E-Star. Averages the most points per game as far as fantasy points in the LPL. He's just so good. 122 fantasy points last game. He's practically a 95 point lock, you know, with 140 point upside. He's just really good. 122 points last game. Can't go wrong. 14.1 kills per game, 19.3 assists. The LPL is a lot more active than the LCK, so you'll notice that the LPL players usually end up with more kills and assists. Not to say the LCK doesn't have that as well, but usually the LPL is usually way more active on the map, at least. Takes a lot more chances, which can sometimes bite him in the butt, but sometimes pays off. And then Betty for RNG is obviously priced up. If I'm playing any RNG guys, he'd be the #1 guy, including my lineups. Practically in their victories, he's practically averaging over 90 fantasy points per game in every win this season for them. So I mean, if they're heavily favored, he's probably going to be one of the people to pop off. Then you got aiming, like I mentioned. Asura for LNG. The AD carry position is really stacked from top to bottom, honestly. Even on the underdogs, they're pretty good, but I mean, all the way from the favorites like Wink, Betty, Aiming, Sura, Deft, and Ruler. Those are all really good plays at their price tags for sure. And then support, Shall See, has been playing really good. 76 fantasy points per game, 28 assists per game. He's practically a lock for 75 points. Last 3 games he's been playing really well. Had 100-point games the last 3 games. Has the highest ceiling as far as supports on the slate, highest floor as well, but I mean you're paying for it with that 6.8 price tag. Then you got Ming for RNG, priced up 6.4. If you're playing GPPs, I'd probably like fade them, just because everyone should be on them, just because they're so safe due to how heavily favored they are. And then DRX carry is really good, 22 assists per game, which is the 3rd highest out of any support in the LPL. So I mean 6K is not a bad price. Tucson is kind of priced a little too high in my opinion. He's not that good. I mean, even when they're winning, he's not doing too well. I mean, I think there's better supports as far as like Carry or Shall See, and then even Duan right below him at under 200 has a higher ceiling for sure. Has shown 90-point upside, so I do prefer him as well. And then I mean, Life at 5.2 is underpriced, but obviously due to the matchup being so, I mean, you don't know which way it's gonna go. I think it plays 3 games, so it might benefit him, but thing is, you have to hope they win. I mean, that's where you're going to make that money, though, taking that gamble on either Life or effort for T1. But I think that's it. I mean, just running through the teams again. I mean, RNG up top, KT, DRX, E-Star, LNG, and Gen is the way I'm going. I mean, but if you're looking for, GPPs, I'd probably go with T1 or DMO. I don't see SP beating DRX or Griffin beating KT or VG beating E-Star, Victory 5 beating RNG. It's kind of just going to be between DMO beating LNG and T1 beating Gen G. As the main places I would try to look if I'm trying to look for some kind of upset. Although Sandbox is pretty good, but I'm not too confident in them. I don't think they've been playing too good lately. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you got any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Thanks for watching.